just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, same old, same old, every single day, without this. Please watch the first two episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Good evening, everyone. Excuse me. It's the history of literature tonight. History of literature, which would be good, because there's a lot to do with everything. What's gone on in the world. What's going on in the world. And it should be a really good insight into what literature is all about. With me and my mate, my little mate, Anthony Brown. So we'll be getting cracking on that in a moment or two. I just want to thank Gap Painting Services, if I might, for sponsoring the Frank Carlyle show. And Gap Painting Services. Listen, I know Christmas is around the corner, and don't struggle trying to paint and decorate. Get these lads in. They're fully time served. They're not cowboys. They're not, definitely not cowboys. They're fully, as I said, they're fully time served, and they are fully insured. And they go in, do what you want, and leave your house in pristine condition. They're brilliant. And if you don't fit into the category of being an elderly couple or an elderly person on your own or an NHS worker that gets special discounts, just call them in, tell them to give you the price without any obligation. No obligation whatsoever. Get them in. Don't struggle. Please don't struggle like people do. And sometimes they mess it up. So please get them in. And that's Gap Painting Services. The sponsors of every single Frank Carlyle podcast. Please get them in. Darryl Merry. Francesco, hey Darryl. The lovely little Lynn. Even Frank. Evening, Lynn. So what do we have tonight then? I'm just going to bring in right away Anthony, who's just sitting there patiently waiting for me. And there he is. I don't know where he is. I'm trying to add him. He's not there. I just don't know. I don't know what's wrong. Everything is going wrong. Everything. Like Gap Painting Services for the.
Good evening, one and all. Well, mine is free, but we're on there.
Do you know what? I can't even have myself, you know. I can't have myself.
a problem in life.
It's
There we
just
go.
nuts.
Back.
Hang on, hang on. Right, now, hang on.
There we
There we
go.
go. Ah, blimey. I don't know
Amigo.
what was happening there. Yeah, I just don't know what was happening there. And
Do you know what, Frank? We have had a day of that. Man, I tell you what. I woke up this morning sounding like you do, feeling absolutely uh, out of it, rough. And couple of hospital appointments and everything that could go wrong went wrong,
yeah,
and then we got back, and needless to say, here we are, and everything else disappears into the mist.
do you know what though? Just now, one of my neighbours called and he said,
Oh,
Frank, I haven't seen you for ages. And this is going on for about, I said, I'm doing I'm doing a podcast
oh,
job. And he's a lovely fella.
oh,
One of those nice fellas.
yeah.
And he came here, he just walked in. And he said, oh, I'm sorry about that. But he just kept on talking.
Oh,
And he says, you had a good win last night, didn't you? And I said, yeah. He said, there's a mate of mine. He said, he never stops moaning. He said, he works with, he said, I work with him. And he never stops moaning about Liverpool. He's a Liverpoolian, he said. He's a Liverpoolian. He supports the Reds. And he said, he
yeah.
never stops moaning. He said, and I just said to him one day, here, stop it. Try being in my shoes. Because he's an Evertonian, you see. Just the way he
You know
said,
what? Merseyside is the most powerful place for sports and achievements, whether it's mighty Reds, Liverpool, Everton, and even Tranmere, and all the in betweens. But um, some days it doesn't go as smooth as others.
no,
It's like everything. It's a city, and this is probably more for our history show, but it's a city that inspires so much.
yeah.
There's so much, and you want to accomplish the best. Is that you or me? Because I am getting fireworks going off here, which
Same
are
as me outside. It's terrible. It really
well,
is. But
it's like the industrial fireworks. This is all you know, tiny little homes, street after street after street, and some goon is setting off industrial fireworks.
I
Wow,
know it's just absolutely ridiculous. Anyway,
it adds to
ambidextrous. Ambidextrous. Good evening, Frank and Anthony and chatters.
good evening, ambidextrous. Thank you very much.
And oh, when I couldn't get you on, she said, she says, are all your comments second hand? No, that's Stephen Snape. I'm sorry, are all your comments second hand to Ambi? That's what Stephen says. Joan Keane. Hiya, Joan. Hiya. Hello, Frank. That's Joan Keane. Hiya, Joan. Good to see you.
A warm
Really
welcome.
is. Really is. And Snapey says, guys, fucked it up tonight, lads. Yes. And if you're a Catholic, you know what you were saying there about the fireworks.
Yeah,
And if you're a Catholic, and it's been a tradition since the 1840s, but you go back to the 1605 gunpowder plot. And when these people, the likes of Guy Fawkes, were being hanged, drawn, and quartered. That means chopped up. And the body parts being thrown on a massive fire. And they called it a bonfire. Good fire. It's French. Bonfire. And it was the burning of Catholicism and all Catholics. So then it just went away until around the 1840s when they decided to start these bonfires again. So it was the burning down of Guy Fawkes. He has a little effigy of Guy Fawkes and a Pope. And they were burning the Pope along with Guy Fawkes. And as you know, the Pope represents every Catholic.
Yeah.
And if you're a Catholic and you see the fireworks going, that's the celebration over Catholics and the Catholic Church.
And this is the
So you celebrate along with the what was you saying?
Great balance with modern life is that some people know that. There's a lot of people don't know that. And there's those do know that and glorify it. So, but we're still here, us Catholics, as is the Pope, as is the Vatican, as is
Well, it's
Catholicism.
like what, but it's like what Shakespeare said, wasn't it? In the tragedy speech of Macbeth, where he said, and all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, brief candle, life is but a walking shadow. A poor play that struts up now, all our yesterdays means history. The lighted fools the way to dusty death is the likes of the plotters being dragged through the streets face down, going to their deaths, and the dust blowing up at the face on the way to dusty death. See, they're the lighted fools. The lighted fools where you get the image of Guy Fawkes in the cellars wanting to blow up Parliament, which was a lie. It was propaganda, and it was a lie. It was a government subplot to get rid of the Catholics.
Yeah.
And they said it was a popish plot, which it wasn't. And that was it. That was it. And he has a terrible death, a horrible death. And the poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and has heard no more is the likes of, say, Guy Fawkes, the likes of him, who was saying, I never done this. It wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about. But the proper transcript, there's no transcript. There's only one transcript that was written by Robert Cecil. And Robert Cecil was the most powerful man in England at the time. And he had nobody interviewing or torturing the prisoners, shall we say, the plotters. He was the only one who was taking the confessions. He wanted no one else around, especially in the court. He had no scribes there whatsoever to write down what was happening in the court. So what you're reading, if the transcript of the court, is a load of nonsense, because he was just making it up as he was going along. As I said, the poor player that struts and frets is out upon the stage and has heard no more. And they're not heard because what they were saying wasn't being written down.
No.
Propaganda was written down. The lies were written down. Because as I said, they were saying, I wasn't there, it wasn't me. And when you get the image of Guy Fawkes in the cellars, no, he wasn't in the cellars. He was actually um, arrested 3 days later in a pub. He was having a bevy,
Yeah,
and that was it.
yeah. But
And
what the horror of Robert Cecil totally did not see coming was that a member of the court who had a photographic memory would remember all of this
who
and
was it?
put it out. And he was your pal on your shoulder, the great William Shakespeare. What,
Yes,
what, what a man
this man here. Yeah.
to address the balance of lies and corruption with truth.
And that's the problem with propaganda today.
Yeah,
Because as it finishes it off, it is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. And that was Robert Cecil,
yeah.
full of sound and fury. And that's your gunpowder plot.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Let's see what this been saying. So, Snapey says, the kids doing penny for the guy round here. I've got card machine. Loving the Scotians, you know, it's a lie. I'm well.
Yeah.
Card machine. Crazy.
Sorry, I haven't got any change. Well, there you go, Governor. Put it in there.
Yeah. Can you put it in there, please? Want to say to Franco, Antonio, and everyone, and that's Bella. Hey, Bella.
Oh, good evening, Bella.
So, tonight, we're going to talk about some war poetry. Well, can I read a poem out of what's happening? And it's by Sir John Betjeman when he was poet laureate.
Yeah.
And I was looking at this today and I said, I'll have to read this out. Because it's what's going on today.
Yeah.
Can I read it out before we go on to the likes of the greats?
Yes,
the likes
please.
of Sassoon, the
Yeah.
likes of Wilfred Owen. Are you out to your thing go yesterday?
It was just. I mean, I was purely there because, well, not purely there, but it was it was to set up a small exhibition of the Wilfred portrait, another couple of works, and what we call a signature canvas, which is what I was working on over the past few nights. And that is purely for people to write a name of a loved one or a family member or someone that they know that served and was lost. It's remembrance. It's lest we forget. And that was the spirit of us setting it up. So it wasn't a big thing in a launch and stuff. It's just there now. The exhibition is at Port Sunlight, the museum, which is in the centre of the village, and it's there for a few weeks. So if someone wants to go in and leave a name on that board, uh, the board will forever be exhibited wherever the Wilfred and the other parts of the show go.
That's
And
wonderful.
while at some point we need to put in Sassoon, we need to do him too, because
Secret. we'll be doing one of his poems,
Yeah.
to be honest.
And you know more than anyone who should be in and we should doff our caps to and who shouldn't. So
Absolutely.
maybe we'll get onto that maybe.
Yeah, of course. Because it's just not tonight. It goes on and on. The history of literature,
Yeah.
because we talk about the great prose writers, as everybody knows, as
Yeah.
well, and not just war poets as we're talking about tonight, but also throughout what we've been talking about, the likes of Thomas Hardy, for example,
Yeah.
William Blake, John Keats, Browning,
Yeah.
and Elizabeth Barrett Browning, by the way.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
see, so it's fantastic poets. They're great.
And the authors to go with them. I mean, Sean Bronte, uh, our joint mutual favorite author. One of them is Charles Dickens, and of course, he. It's about those that shine the spotlight on the injustice of life, as well as glorification of life, and all of those names that you've mentioned there to the family.
Of course, because there's a ephemeral, ephemeral. What a name that is! I can't even pronounce the name. ephemeral, ephemeral. And she says, "Hello, hope all is well." Well, yes.
We hope so. Yeah,
Struggling with your name there, ephemeral. But anyway, she says, "I love Artie. It was a pleasure going to see his home and surrounding countryside that inspired him." Yeah, yeah. And one thing you've got to know about Hardy Ephemeral is that with Tessa the D'Urbervilles, because he was an author, and prose, and when he wrote Tessa the D'Urbervilles, he actually fell in love with the fictional character of Tess, and he had to kill her off because he fell in love with her. And once he killed her off, he never wrote another prose again. He never wrote another prose again. And
that's
he only wrote poetry after that. So you see, ephemeral. So Hardy is fantastic. And what you want to read is one of his great poems, which was written at the turn of the 20th century. And that was the darkling thrush, a
yeah,
little thrush. And it was written in December 1900,
yeah,
bringing in the 20th century.
yeah. I love that connection to nature and also the connection to reality. And it's not about bling and stuff and how much is in the bank. And I I I love that because when it all boils down, that's life.
Yes, it is life. That is life. And Toscana, she says, Buonasera, Franco, Anthony, and chatters. Hope you're all well. Thank you, Toscana. I
Thank
think
you.
we are all well.
We are coughing and spluttering, but we're okay. We're here.
Yeah. Right, so what I'll do, I'll just read this. I wanted it done quickly because it's only what is happening today. And it's got nothing to do with what we're going to talk about wars, or anything. The war poets, that is.
Yeah.
And it's called executive. It's called I hope I can read this because, believe it or not, you might think that I'm in, loads of light. And I'm not. It's pretty dark in here.
You're in shadow. Yeah.
And it's just the screen that gives me light and makes me like well and truly. I can I can actually see them through the window. And right
Oh,
out there.
it's moronic, Frank. Really is.
I think they should. I think it should be banned. To be honest,
Yeah.
I know it's a tradition, but it should be banned. Anyway, I'll just try and read this the best way I can. Let's see if we can put it up here. Let's see. Let's see if I can see this. I am a young. It's called executive. It's just called executive by Sir John Betjeman. I am a young executive. No cuffs than mine are cleaner. I have a slimline briefcase and I use the firm's Cortina. In every roadside hostelry, from here to Burgess Hill, the Mycraig D Hotel all know me well and let me sign the bill. You ask me what it is I do. Well, actually, I'm partly a liaison man and partly PRO. Essentially, I integrate the current export drive. And basically, I'm viable from 10 o'clock till 5. For vital off the records work, that's talking transport wise, I've a Scarlet Aston Martin, and does she go? She flies. Pedestrians and dogs and cars, we mark them down for slaughter. I also own a speedboat, which has never touched the water. She's built on fiberglass, of course. I call her Mandy Jane, after a bird I used to know. No soda, please, just plain. And how did I acquire her? Well, to tell you about that, and to put you in the picture, I must wear my other hat. I do some mild developing. The sort of place I need is a quiet country market town that's rather run to seed. A luncheon and a drink or two, a little savoir faire. I fixed the planning officer, the town clerk, and the mayor. And if some preservationist attempts to interfere, a dangerous structure notice from the borough engineer will settle any buildings that are standing in our way. The modern style, sir, with respect, has really come to stay. Corruption.
Modern day.
Modern day corruption. Not only is it modern day corruption, but also getting rid of what am I? You know that uh, I'm a specialist on architecture,
Yeah.
and I've always said to you, Anthony, and I've said to the people, what we've knocked down, what we've pulled down, is it's a crime. It's a crime. It's criminal. It's criminal vandalism. The buildings that we've actually pulled down. And it's what he's saying there. It's all corrupt. It's like
yeah,
the overhead railway, the very first overhead, electrified overhead railway in the world. And we pulled it down.
yeah, yeah,
The fifth custom house, built in 1828,
yeah.
pulled that down.
It's
Where
like the,
Shabazz Park is. Just imagine that being there today. Go on, what was you
I
going to
can't.
say?
You sent me a most beautiful short bit of footage of Florence in Italy a couple of days ago, last week, and I was in awe of it. Modern day footage, um, people dressed as we're dressed, with the buildings and the backdrop were as they have always been. That should apply to every city.
Yes, of course it should. Every city. Look, Italy's just been voted the most beautiful country in the world.
Yeah.
For architecture, for everything. And it's the right. You just mentioned Florence. And they don't knock down. They play. This is really getting on my bloody nerves. Really getting on my nerves, this banging.
Mm.
Ephemeral says, interesting. When reading War and Peace, I fell in love with Natasha. She's so feminine and in awe with life. War and Peace, Leo Tolstoy it's just an amazing piece of work. Tolstoy is one of the greatest writers of all time, by the way.
Cheers. Wonderful. I was intrigued recently reading an article about when he sensed that he was passing over, he was unwell. Um, his wife, who had been like his laney to him, his solid rock, wasn't aware, and he, he kind of sneaked out the house and disappeared, and he just walked and found himself at a train station, which again brings back to me the memory of the story that you said, uh, the signalman, Charles
Oh,
Dickens. And so he went there, and the signalman said, "You look cold. Have you eaten?" No, made a fuss of him and gave him a shelter for the night. And Tolstoy died in this place, the signalman's house. But what his wife didn't know is that he'd given away, signed away the copyright, the rights to all his works. So his wife and his children didn't have a penny to stand on.
no, no. It's, yeah, it's, they're the type of stories that unfold, before your very eyes, and you're in awe of them because you go, wow, they didn't even get nothing. But there's been lots like that
Yeah.
that you don't know about.
Yeah.
You don't know about.
And obviously I'm aware of what you say to us all in chat and what you we talk about in private. Um, that's one book or one article. So there might be another 53 articles, let's say. That wasn't the case.
You
Um,
know, we talk about nature
yeah,
and the fertilization of everything,
yeah,
and we always moan about. Well, I do about the weather. I moan about, I don't get enough sun, and it's always bloody cold. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
I always moan about it. I think the whole of the British moan about the weather because you try to plan something, even weddings.
yeah.
June brides. There's
Oh,
always June bride, and I was down at St George's Hall, and I'll never forget it. And this big car comes up, and this bride gets out, and she's walking up the steps, and all of a sudden, it just it was incredible. It just rained, and I'm talking about heavy rain. And by the time she got up to the steps, she was absolutely soaking wet. A bride, and I did not feel sorry for her. So you can't really plan anything.
no.
If you wanted to have friends around, for example, which I've done many a time in the past, and have a barbecue, your nice friends, and a couple of beers and a barbecue. I remember doing it in one July. I said I'll have a barbecue and come around and okay, yeah. But it was always on a Saturday I had it because
Yeah,
I didn't want to do it on a Sunday because it's work the next day if you're having a few beers. So I
no.
said I'll be a Saturday. Okay, fine. Every weekend during that July, it rained. It rained. And that's the way it is. Now I'm going to read this poem,
Yeah,
and it's by the great Wilfred Owen. And just think about this poem. It's called Futility. My Futility, the title. Oh, can you hear that from it? Can you hear them bangs going off?
I can. And I've also got them from here as well. So it's like,
Ah, but I can see the flashes. Like now, big
well,
flash and a bang.
do you know what? It adds ambiance to our war poems.
It's really pissing me off.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, there's another one. They're just going to go off all and evening. Anyway, Futility, Wilfred Owen. Now, don't forget nature. Move him into the sun. Gently, its touch awoken once. At home, whispering of fields unsown. Always it woken, even in France, until this morning and this snow. If anything might rouse him now, it's the kind old sun will know. Think how it wakes the wakening seeds, woke once the clays of a cold star. Our limbs so dear achieved, our eyesides full nerved, still warm, too hard to stir. Was it for this day the clay grew tall? Oh, what made fatuous sunbeams toil to break its sleep at all? What it says there, it's the fertilization when there was nothing on earth. It was just a cold clay earth. And with the sunbeams and with the heat of the sun, things started to grow like trees, grass, plants, man. And this lad is lying in France, dead, and he's pleading with the sun, as he says, which is sad. Always it woke him, even in France, until this morning and this snow. If anything might rouse him now, the kind old sun will know. Think how it wakes the seeds, woke once the clays of a cold star. Our limbs so dear achieved, our sides so full nerved, still warm, too hard to stir. Was it for this clay that grew tall? Oh, what made fatuous sunbeams toil to break earth's sleep at all? Meaning, is this why the earth was formed for death of human beings in a needless war?
Yeah.
That's what he said. This is the First World War. That's why it's called futility.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a hard-hitting poem.
Yes.
And it's nature. It's nature at its worst.
Yeah. I think it was the great Leonardo da Vinci, who we both adore, had said, the cruelest beast on this planet is the human race.
Of course. Of course. Christopher. Hi, Frank and Anthony and everyone. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Anthony. Hey, Christopher.
Good evening, Christopher.
And he carries on by saying, sounds like the Blitz around here. It is. It's shocking.
Yeah.
And Toscana. Sorry, I've just come off the phone. Did you write that, Franco? I really enjoyed listening to it. No, I didn't write that. That was Sir John Betjeman about... no, Sir John Betjeman. And Darryl says, Anthony, you beautiful human being. How are you, mate?
Oh, Darryl, you are so kind. We're all beautiful human beings on this particular chat. I know it. I can vouch for everyone, and you included.
Oh. Toscana says, imagine being able to sit in the middle of Florence with a cappuccino and a pad and pen. I go every year, but unfortunately, I can't write poetry.
We'll draw a picture, Toscana. You know what? When Frank sent me that beautiful little video, I was just there. I was gone and just there, and I showed Lainey and said, look, can you see us there? And she said, yes.
There you go. There you go. And Bella says, are no whispers under ancient span, marble grace where great ideas began. Cypress trees climb Tuscan hills afar, guiding light from every evening star.
Beautiful, Bella. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. It's incredible.
It is incredible. We're going to have to collect these beautiful verse poems and do a special show of readers' contributions.
Yes, totally agree. Right, I'm going to read one of the great hard hitting. I think futility is looking at nature and about the sun that fertilizes everything.
It's
It
looking
fertilizes
at where we come from and where we go to, isn't it? It's that balance.
precisely, and it's rather sad because there's a lad who's lying next to me, dead because of war,
Yeah.
and he's trying to say, please, the sun woke you once, it might wake you again, and it didn't. That's why it's called futility. It's futile. Anyway, this poem is one of the most hard-hitting poems ever written, and it's about war. It's about what goes on in war, and it's called Anthem for Doomed Youth, and it's what passing bells for these who die as cattle. Only the monstrous anger of the guns, only the stuttering rifles' rapid rattle can patter out their hasty orisons. No mockeries for them from prayers or bells, nor any voice of mourning save the choirs, the shrill demented choirs of wailing shells, and bugles calling them from sad shires. What candles may be held to speed them all, not in the hands of boys, but in their eyes shall shine the holy glimmers of goodbyes. The pallor of girls' brows shall be their pall, their flowers, their tenderness of silent minds, and each slow dusk a drawing down of blinds. See how hard it is.
It
Uh,
is.
the bells of the church as they pass. The church is blessing death. This is what he's saying.
And the title alone, Anthem for Doomed Youth.
That's it. It's the title
Not,
that tells you
not
everything.
like we grow into an age where we naturally pass.
Yes, yes. And when you get the hardness of only the monstrous anger of the guns, only the stuttering rifles' rapid rattle. Could you imagine the monstrous anger of the shells, bang, 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 constant, 24/7.
The shrill whistle.
And can patter out their hasty orisons. That means, as they go over the top, their hasty orisons is their prayers. They're saying the prayers quickly
Yes.
as they go over the top and to the deck.
But for me, one of the most poignant lines in it is, as we discussed pri- excuse me, Frank, privately the other night, um, is something that we grew up with in our youth, is the drawing of the blinds. Well, in our case, it was the drawing of the curtains, and you knew something monstrous had happened. Someone had passed away.
Someone had been killed in the war, and
Yeah,
each slow dusk a drawing down of blinds.
yeah.
Every dusk, every end of day, there is someone who's died in that First World War.
I feel that we know, and I'm sure many people know, but I just feel we should mention that um, Wilfred Owen and Siegfried Sassoon were became exceptional soldiers. Sassoon almost had a suicide bent, and he was nicknamed Mad Jack, because of his onslaught of the enemy. And Wilfred Owen was the same. Now, when we say World War One poets, it kind of lessens their physical status in life, where these were once quiet academics, both of them. And when you're faced with the obstacles that every war brings you, they became the very, very embodiment of a good soldier, a killing machine, you know. And it was while all of this was going on that they were totally in a state of realization that the propaganda doesn't even come close. But the
No,
truth is
no.
hard.
And what you've got to think of as well, um, Wilfred Owen was from the clergy. And for him to write what passing bells for these who die as cattle, he's having a go at the church
Yeah,
that he was heavily involved in.
yeah,
What passing bells for these who die as cattle. They're given their blessing to go to, which, it's a connotation of a slaughterhouse, which is France.
yeah,
What
yeah,
passing, what passing bells for these who die as cattle. Well, cattle go to a slaughterhouse
yeah,
to be slaughtered.
yeah. No protest from the church. The
No, no,
and,
well, just sound the bells, don't they?
yeah,
Bye bye, lads. We'll be saying prayers for you. It's hard hitting, as I said. It's just one of those. It's one of those poems that really gets to you. Know the likes of that poem,
yeah,
Anthem for Doomed Youth, was in itself banned,
yeah. For many, many
never,
years, wasn't it? Yeah.
never published until 1930, 12 years after the war had finished.
You know what, Frank? You and I have talked about this privately, but that was the first war poem that I saw and read, and the first Wilfred Owen poem. And when I was 16, 17, I'd started art school, and someone had said to me, basically, "Do you read a bit?" And I said, "Yeah." And then, there you go. And it was an old paperback of the war poets. And that was the first one up that I read. And it was very, very emotive to read. And it stayed with me for all these years. So I vowed some point after that that I will paint, I'm going to paint this guy with his own, not knowing the ins and outs. And 50 years later, I was 46 when I painted Wilfred, but it stayed there, and more so now when you recite it. That is the absolute power of literature, in that it stays with us.
Yes, of course. When we when we read literature, when we pick up a book and we read it, whether it's poetry, whether it's prose, and there's hard-hitting words that resonate. Poetry resonates, especially war poetry. It just resonates all the time because we're coming up to the 11th of
Yeah.
November,
Yeah.
which is Armistice Day,
Yeah.
and when thousands, well, as Owen said himself, we have lost the cream of British youth because we lost 1 million men, and people
Yeah.
don't realise that 1 million.
And the most heartbreaking irony about that is that the letter to Owen's mum to say that sadly your son has been killed in battle arrived at her home on Armistice Day on the
Exactly a week later, he was killed on the 4th,
yeah,
and a week later, she receives a telegram. Everyone got a telegram. Everyone. Anyway,
when the street
Toscana says, Bella says, Franco, narrates a beautiful poem about a soldier who was dying, and his last words to his mum would be, would you like to hear it? Yes, of course. Be nice, that, Bella.
that's where we are, Bella.
And Lynn Ellis says, evening, Anthony.
Good evening, Lynn. I hope you're well. I hope you're in a quieter place than me and Frank are. Well,
God blimey, it's like, we're surrounded by these stupid big fireworks. Could you imagine being in the trenches with
this
deafening noise?
this is the crazy thing about it, Frank, because it's like, wow, if we were going to put a sound effect on for tonight's show to indicate, then this is it, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, and these are kids. They're younger than our Tom and Kate. They're young. What was the average age of a soldier in the British Army then?
17. That's why you see a lot. When we look at old pictures, and even family photographs, you go, God blimey, didn't they look old then?
Yeah,
They just looked old. And you get these 16 and 17-year-old kids trying to grow moustaches. That's why you see a lot of moustaches of
yeah.
soldiers. And that would, it's hard to believe that the average age of the British soldier in the First World War was 17. Incredible.
Heartbreaking. Because they're still children.
And it's just like the most hard-hitting poem of any war in any part of the world was a two-liner, a two-line poem
Yes, absolutely.
written by Rudyard Kipling because he signed a paper to say that his son was okay to go to war. And he was killed. And he doted on his son. And he had bad eyesight. And they wouldn't allow him in. They wouldn't allow him into the army. They wouldn't allow him in. And unfortunately, Yeah, put him in. Because he said, Dad, you must know some people. So he said, okay. But the MOD, they just gave you a piece of paper and saying, well, you've got to sign it, We're not forcing this son of yours to come into a war where we've rejected them
Yeah.
and rejected them 3 times over because of his eyesight. Okay, I'll sign it. So he signed it. And it's just like other fathers who were signing the same piece of paper for their sons who were 14 and 15 years of age. Think about that. 14 and 15 going to war, and they were killed. I made a video, and I don't know whether Jason still got the footage. And I'm in this cemetery, and I'm kneeling down at this gravestone, and I was a 15-year-old boy. Then I went to another one, and there was a 14-year-old boy, British. And that poem, that 2-line poem by Rudyard Kipling, was this. If any question why we died, tell them because our fathers lied. It's the most hard-hitting poem ever. Just 2 lines. Just 2 lines. That was all.
I remember an interview I saw on TV years ago with one of England's foremost comics, Norman Wisdom,
Oh,
and it was a kind of really deep documentary, but he basically joined the army at age 14 because his father was such a brute and would batter the family. And as a child, he joined the army, and the regimental sergeant said, "You can't join the army, you're too young, but you can join the band," who went with the army. So the logic in that is like, so that's how he got in the Second World War.
there are some sad things, though, isn't there, about certain people. And they don't have to be, like Norman Wisdom, well known, a popular artist, comedian. Everybody loved Norman Wisdom. But I seen a documentary on him, and it was shocking what his son and his daughter-in-law did to him.
Yeah.
Shocking. He went out one morning, outside his front door, and he said, "Where's my car?" And he has a Rolls Royce, and they sold it on him. He said, "Oh, it's gone, you can't drive no more." He said, "But I like sitting in it." He said, "It's my car, where is it?" They sold it on him. Then they brought him, they said to him, "Come on, Dad, this is a documentary I watched on the BBC." And they said, "Come on, Dad, we're taking it to some people, and we want you to just tell them stories and be funny, and they brought him to an old people's home, and he was sitting there and he was telling them, and then he said, "I've got to go now," but they'd already gone. They left him there in this old people's home, and he cried and cried, and he died there.
You know what? That is the cruelest thing. We all know our wonderful chat family and us. We've been through it. You meet some people in life that you think are friends and they're not. But to
No,
have from your family, from your son or your daughter, that's the cruelest betrayal that ever.
it's so sad, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm going to read a poem.
good.
Good. And as Bella says, Franco, the poems you're reading out brings tears to my eyes. It's a reality of what's happened today and in the past.
Yeah,
Yes, of course, Bella. And this poem is by, I hope I've got it, Siegfried Sassoon.
brilliant.
I hope I can find it. Look at the thickness of that.
Wow,
And very thin pages and small print.
you could not read that in bed. You'd break your neck if that dropped on you.
I'm telling you now, it's, I think, how many pages is in it? It's like War and Peace. There's 2,665 pages
Say,
of very small print, and it's very difficult to read. And I'm going to read the very short these. Now, as I said, Wilfred Owen, not Wilfred Owen, um, Siegfried Sassoon. People think that he was German, like Siegfried Sassoon.
yeah,
And he was a Jewish man.
yeah.
He was a Jewish man.
It it was his mother, wasn't it, who loved Wagner,
Yeah,
and she named him after the character in an opera.
yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
And Wagner, who else was is the favourite composer? Who else loved Wagner? Any idea?
Yes. Adolf.
Adolf Hitler. March of the Valkyries was his favourite. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, this is, I'm going to read two very short poems. One is called They. Now, it's very difficult the way I'm going to read this, simply because it's very small print. I'm in the bloody dark as well. And I hate wearing these bloody glasses, albeit they're my reading glasses.
Yeah. Have a go on mine.
I could have just sucked them. Yeah, I get it still. Yeah. And this is called They. Then I'm going to read The General. Okay.
Yeah.
Day, it's called. The bishop tells us when the boys come back, they will not be the same, for they'll have fought in just a cause. They lead the last attack on Antichrist, though comrades' blood has bought new right to breed an honourable race. They have challenged death and dared him to face to face. We're none of us the same, the boys reply, for George lost us both his legs and Bill's stone blind. Poor Jim's shot through the lungs and is likely to die. And Bert's gone through syphilis. You'll not find a chap who's served that hasn't found some change. And the bishop said, the ways of God are strange.
So he's writing about reality there, isn't he?
Oh, it's the reality that he knows about these lads. You
Yeah.
know, one lad stone. Well, how many people were stone blind through that war? How many people had lost their limbs? Let me see if I can get this.
I read about a wonderful story, truth, where because he was always an officer class, and he got moved up gradually, and he had a passion for warfare, and he stormed the German lines and wiped out 60 German soldiers. Apparently, let some go and whatever. And then instead of sending out message to his commanders and his troops to say, I've done it, he sat in the trench, which was now empty, and read a book of poetry. And
Wow.
when his commanding officer found out, he went absolutely berserk. But the the soldiers under him loved him, absolutely loved him, in the same way that Wilfred Owens loved him. Because you said it before about some of the great leaders, um, and it's their attitude and their way forward that is followed by the troops, and it's kind of unbelievable to think about now, because we know about the blood and the loss of hundreds of thousands of lives, but these people were like absolutely no one else.
No. I'm just trying to find something.
And then he wrote about it.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No.
Can you see that? I can't see, you see.
The
Can
chap
you see that?
wheelchair, yeah, with no legs.
Yeah. That other fella's got no leg.
Yeah.
And they've been told to smile. I can't see when I put anything up. Fuck. I'm going to show you something as well. British soldier dead, just there with his rifle, just shot dead in a trench.
Absolutely. It, it's unimaginable. The horrors of war. And both the poets were talking about, Siegfried Sassoon and Wilfred Owen, got to a point where they said, this is wrong. This is wrong. What's going on? And so they made it their business to say, this is wrong. Frank, don't go there. This is wrong. Anthony, don't waste your time. This is wrong. And they were immediately silenced. In terms of
Costly.
Sassoon was sent to
Can I show you
Carlyle.
this? Can I show you this?
Oh, the battlefield.
Right, now that I can't fucking see. I'm sorry, I can't fucking see, to be honest. See the colonel on his horse at the back there,
Yeah,
and they're all to attention with packs on or £120 on the back. And he said, up to now, this company, this regiment has not made a name for themselves. But tomorrow you shall make a name for yourself. If you're slightly wounded, make your own way back to base. Do not take up valuable ambulance service space. If you're badly wounded, crawl away to a shell hole and die. That's what he said to them. That was a pep talk. To those lads. That was on the eve of the Battle of the Somme. The very first day, on the 1st of July 1916.
which still ranks as one of the most evil battles ever fought.
60,000 soldiers lost their lives in 2 hours, the first 2 hours. Was 62,000 in the first 2 hours casualties, soldiers. And this lot who have just shown you, I can't pick it up no more because my arm's killing me. They were wiped out. The Liverpool Pals, they were wiped out. This is a hard-hitting book. I'm going to show you another picture. Oh, fuck. And that's a priest, giving out communion to the lads.
They were going over the hill.
They were going over the hill. And it was the 17th Battalion of the Liverpool Regiment. And they were all killed the next day. The Liverpool Regiment. How about that?
Well, one word comes to mind, and maybe it shouldn't. Maybe there should be a debate about it, but futility, as you said before,
Yeah,
to move it on.
yeah, futility. I've had that for years. Years I've had that. But you want to see some of the pictures in it. Okay, now. Ah, ah.
Again, it's like William Shakespeare, isn't it? Out.
Yeah, out brief candle. Life is but a walking shadow. The brief candle is your life. It's a
Yeah.
it's a flame on a candle, and it goes out. That's your life. And the only thing we can do is enjoy our life while we can,
Yes.
because we're not here that long.
No.
We're not here. When I used to lecture about the Romans, and especially coming into Britain, here, Britannicus, and I used to think back, as I'm lecturing, and I'm talking like 2,000 years ago. If you think about it, in that 2,000 years, how many lives have been exterminated, just gone, whether it's natural causes or whatever, because your lifespan is so small, so small. Everybody's lifespan. It's a brief candle, as the great man says himself, Shakespeare. Out, brief candle. That's your lifespan. And Bella says, last last light, the dusk is thick, the breath is thin, the pain has paused, the noise grown low, a memory breaks the terror in a gentle face I used to know. Not mud or fear, but mum's own eyes, a shadow, soft beside the stone, a final piece before he dies. He whispers, I'm coming home. Some poem, that, isn't it? But
Yeah.
she's written, I'm
Just
coming.
beautiful. I love that line. I love it all, but I love that line, and I've returned to it so many times in my life. And it's whatever we do and wherever we go, whatever we achieve, um, it always comes back to that line. I'm coming home.
I'm coming home. Yes, 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 yes. I think one of Ivor Gurney, no, it wasn't Ivor Gurney. Ivor Gurney wrote that poem, To His Love.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's gone, and all our plans are useless indeed. That was one of the most hard hitting poems. But one
Yeah.
of the most hard hitting poems was by a fellow by the name of Mackenzie, Captain Mackenzie. And he said, he goes, And he was losing men left, right, and centre. He went over the top with them, but he was losing them. And he couldn't really get to know them until, like, one batch of lads, he started to get to know them. And then they were done in. A few of them straggled back to the lines when the whistle went because they were going over the top needlessly. And then the whistle goes and they come back again to retreat back to the lines. Anyway, he decided, he wrote letters, he always wrote letters to the parents or whatever of the deceased, the soldiers that had lost their lives under his command. He was a trench officer. And this time he was going home on leave. So he decided not to post them, but to go and hand deliver them personally. And he went, so I think it was Yorkshire. And he was walking around and he was going down this, very thin lane, very small lane, walking down hedgerows. And then he came to a little cottage, a little farmhouse on the top, not the top of a hill, but, it was very prominent as he was walking around. And there was a dry wall. And there was a little farm. And on the dry wall, he seen someone sitting. And he walked up to him and he said, saluted him. He said, "Excuse me, sir. Do you know a Mr. David Jones?" And he said, I'm Mr. Jones. And he was just sitting on the dry wall. Then he saluted him again and he handed him a letter. And he said, "I'm so sorry," as he handed him the letter. And he walked away. And he turned and he looked. And the man opened the letter and he was sobbing into it. He was sobbing into the letter. Because it was about his son who was killed. And when he got back, he wrote a poem to Captain Mackenzie. And that poem was, "So you were David's father, and he was your only son, and the new cupbeats are rotting, and the workers are left undone, because of an old man weeping, just an old man in pain, for David, his son David, that will not come home again. Oh, the letters he wrote you, and I can see them still, but not a word of the fighting, but just the sheep on the hill, and how you shall get the crops in. Here the storm gets stormier, and the Boche have got his body, and I was his officer. You were only David's father, but I have 50 sons when we went up in the evening under the arch of the guns, and when we came back at twilight, oh God, I heard them call to me for help and pity, that could not help at all. Oh, never will I forget you, my men that trusted me, more my sons than your fathers, for they could only see the little helpless babies and the young men in their pride. They could not see you dying and hold you while you died. Happy and young and gallant, they saw their firstborn go, but not the strong limbs broken and the beautiful men brought low. They were only your fathers, but I was your officer. Three weeks later, he was dead after writing that poem.
Just
How was it, Ingus, though?
uh, it's the most beautiful, heartrending legacy to two lives amongst the many others.
Yes,
His and David.
yes. And remember when I said about reading you a poem, two poems by Siegfried,
Yeah.
and he wrote this one, and it's called The General. Very short. Good morning, the General said when we met him last week on our way to the line. Now the soldiers he smiled at are most of them dead, and here we're cursing his staff for incompetent swine. He's a cheery old cod, grunted Harry to Jack as they slogged up to Arras with rifle and pack. But he did for them both by his plans of attack. So Harry and Jack were killed as well. And that's what they were like, these generals. Good morning. Well, they sent you up there to certain death.
Wow. Again, I suppose we should re-emphasize that um, this was a patriotic gentleman who joined the army in the belief of many that he would be doing good for the country. And when he got there and he saw what it was really like, and he felt this is not doing good for either country, and he wanted to end it. But you can't end it, can you? It's
No,
like being on the middle of the motorway and saying no more traffic. You know, cars flying. No one's gonna listen to that. And when you get louder, then they're gonna remove you.
you're wearing a poppy.
Yeah.
What does it represent? Any idea?
For me, it's always been lest we forget. It's
Yeah, of course. No, of course.
the the
But
blood of
what does
those
the
that
red represent? What?
blood of the dead
Yes, the
soldiers.
soldier. Because when you that poem, in Flanders fields the poppies grow between the crosses, row upon row, to mark our place. And in the sky the lark bravely singing amid the guns below. We are the dead. A few short days ago, we lived, saw sunsets glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie here in Flanders fields.
Powerful.
See, it's death.
Yeah.
But one of the most hard-hitting poems ever was by Wilfred Owen. One of the most. And as Bella says, wow, what a powerful poem, makes your heart pain to think of what they went through. When I gave a lecture, Bella, about the First World War, I always said, you can't imagine. You can't imagine what people were going through, what these lads were going through. And when Odette was with us the other night, she mentioned Verdun, the Battle of Verdun. Now, here, our history is mainly about the three battles of Ypres, the Somme. And heroics, but it does get mentioned, Verdun, but hardly gets mentioned, if you know what I mean, in the context. If you went, me and you are in America now, we went over and we just laid bang, we're in America now and we're talking, and we mentioned to someone, have you ever heard of the Battle of Verdun? They go, what? They wouldn't have a clue what you're talking about.
Or care.
And it's the same here. When I've mentioned it many a time. No. What was it? Anything to do with the Civil War? No. So you see, the Verdun was nearly 1 million, one battle. Nearly 1 million lads lost their lives. Both German and the French. French lost 500,000. 500,000 soldiers.
Jeez.
Are you all right?
Well, okay. Just
You've got a cold, haven't you?
whatever it is, yeah. That's something, yeah.
Let's hope it's nothing else. What I'm going to do tomorrow night, I'm going to do a football show. Give you time to recoup. I'm going to do a football show. I want to talk about last night. So I'll be having a football show tomorrow night.
Okay.
Is that all right with you?
Frank, that's great with me. Right. We're back.
You don't seem too good.
We're back Monday with a bag of chips and a cup of tea.
Yes.
On a park bench.
Yeah. Unless someone gives us scotch and beers. Do you know what I haven't heard from?
Well,
Who hasn't been on here?
Johan.
Yeah. I wonder if he's okay.
Could be going through a similar thing. I mean, hopefully, I know you're full of it as well. You sound full of it, but I think with us it's just a cold. I mean, our Jason got it bad, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, him, he's the
He's
fittest.
really bad.
The three of us, he's the fittest one, and yet, wow.
He's the youngest as well, don't forget.
Yeah.
He can fight it. I can't bloody fight. You can't fight.
No. It's only so much whiskey and drink to fight it off, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh.
I normally recite this, but I'm going to read it. I can recite this because it's one of the greatest poems ever written, and the man needs to be seen, and there he is there. I love him. I love his poetry. And do you know what? Do you know what, Anthony?
Yeah.
He met Siegfried Sassoon up at a hospital in Scotland called Craig Lockhart.
Yeah.
And Sassoon was put in there because he was lobbying
Yeah.
MPs. He was saying, you can stop this. You can all stop this. Stop it. Stop this war. So if that was being you or I, we would have been put up a wall and shot.
Yeah.
Treachery.
Yeah.
Treachery. And so what they decided to do to him, because he came from a privileged background, they decided to send him up to Craig Lockhart. He said, oh, just say he's gone mad. But he wasn't mad. But anyway, he went up there and he met Wilfred Owen. And they were both great poets.
Yeah.
And they collaborated with with each other.
Yeah.
But they wanted to get back to the men. So Sassoon, what he did, because Wilfred Owen, I'm sorry, I should have explained that he was wounded and he was recovering. Then he was all right. Siegfried Sassoon, he wanted to get back to his men. And so did Wilfred Owen. Because they looked after their men. They were trench officers.
Yeah.
Just like that Mackenzie fella.
Yeah.
And then men,
yeah. Their men looked towards them as
heroes.
Of course.
Yeah, they did, aren't they? And Sassoon had to sign a paper, another bloody paper, that he was all right. But the paper was to say he wouldn't go and lobby MPs again, go down to the Parliament when he was home on leave. Quite. So he signed that paper. Then he went back to the front and so did Wilfred Owen. And we all know what happened to him on the 4th of November. Yeah. Exactly 1 week before armistice was signed. He was sniped on a bridge. He was killed.
Yeah.
And this poem, Dulce et Decorum Est, is one of the most powerful poems ever written. And I recite this all the time, but I'll read it out anyway, because it's there. Bent double like old beggars under sacks. I'm going to explain this, by the way. What I'm reading, I'm going to explain when I finish it. Bent double like old beggars under sacks, knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we cursed through sludge, till on the haunting flares we turned our backs, and towards distant rest began to trudge. Men marched asleep. Many had lost their boots, but limped on, all bloodshot, or went lame, or blind, drunk with fatigue, deaf, even to the hoots of gas shells dropping softly behind. Gas, gas, quick boys, an ecstasy of fumbling, fitting the clumsy helmets just in time, but someone was still yelling out and stumbling and floundering like a man in fire or lime, dim through the misty panes and thick green light, as under a green sea, I saw him drowning. In all my dreams before my helpless sight, he plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning. If in some smothering dreams you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in, and watch the white eyes riding in his hanging face, like a devil sick of sin. If you could hear at every jolt the blood come gargling from the froth-corrupted lungs, obscene as cancer, bitter as the cud, of vile incurable sores on innocent tongues, my friend, you would not tell with such a zest to children ardent for some desperate glory, the old lie, dulce et decorum est, pro patria mori. See, where he says they're bent double like old beggars under sacks, their uniforms were they were torn to shreds. Do you know how they were torn to shreds, Anthony? Going over barbed wire. That's why bent double like old beggars under sacks. Knock-kneed, coughing like hags we cursed through sludge. They were terrified. The knock-kneed, the legs are shaking. They were coughing like hags, coughing. And we cursed through sludge. And then, if you think about it, they were going to their distant rest. They were going back to the lines for at least some rest. But they marched to sleep. They were that exhausted. And many had, as it says, many had lost their boots but limped on, all bloodshot, all went lame, all blind, drunk with fatigue, deaf even to the hoots of gas shells dropping softly behind. So, albeit that some were blind. What did I've got it there? There you are, look. On my book. Just marching in a line, look. See?
Yeah.
They were all marching in a line.
Yeah. Keeping each other in step.
Yes. And even with their hands on the shoulder, because most of them were blind.
Wow.
Then as nightmares, because as he says, in all my dreams, before my helpless sight, because he was just helpless. And he's having nightmares about this, Wilfred Owen. He plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning. And as he carries on by saying, and if in some smothering dreams you too could pace behind the wagon. Now, the wagon that came, and they had to lift him in. But they didn't lift him in. They had to fling him in, because they had to be quick. If in some smothering dreams you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in, still alive, and watch the white eyes riding in his face. Because he was still alive, his hanging face, like a devil sick of sin. The devil never gets sick of sin, as you know. Then the gargling, because he's being gassed. He's actually drowning in his own fluid. If you could hear at every jolt the blood come gargling from the froth-corrupted lungs. And then he carries on by saying, of vile, incurable sores on innocent tongues. My friends, you would not tell with such a zest to children ardent for some desperate glory. The old lie, dulce et decorum est pro patria mori. Now, his friend was a fellow by the name of Jesse. I always forget his name. Jesse's someone who wrote little stories for kids, comic books and not comic books, but little stories, about heroics.
Yeah.
And he said, if you knew the truth, you wouldn't be writing this. You wouldn't be writing this for kids. With such a zest to children ardent for some desperate glory. The old lie. Now, don't forget, it's the lie. It's a lie. This is what he's saying. It's the propaganda again. The old lie.
Yeah.
Dulce et decorum est. Pro patria mori. Now, that actually comes from a Roman writer during the Roman campaigns called Ovid, Ovid, a great Roman writer. And he said how glorious and sweet it is to die for one's country. Because, as you know, the Romans, death and honor. It's honourable to die. That's what it is. That's what the generals used to say that to the men. What's that? Am I getting this? No. So you see what these have been saying. Oh, come on, give me a break, will you?
You getting fireworks on the phone?
There's your one.
Oh,
There's your one, look.
oh,
Just mentioned you before. We were worried about you, Johan. No one's seen
oh,
you. Good evening, Frank, and an international artist, Mr. Brown. There's scotches for you again.
oh. I know.
Guess
Well,
where I'm checking in? Guess
go ahead,
where I'm
Bev.
checking in from? Listen to me. Guess where I'm checking in from? Evening
Oh, oh,
legends
yeah,
in the chat. Hope everyone's being well. Having a
brilliant.
clue. Oh, having a clue. Guess where I'm checking in from? Well, I'm just glad that you're there. You're with us, and because
Yeah,
we were worrying. And he says, Bradley was brilliant against Madrid. Yeah, he was.
come back from sunny Madrid.
And the ambi says it's a sweet and proper about Dulce et decorum est. Pro
Yeah,
patria.
which of
And they
course is
say,
the old
are you
line.
one? Bella, are you one?
Brilliant. There you go. Got the band back together.
Yes, absolutely. So what do you think about tonight then, mister? You
I
being sick. Why didn't you let me know that you were sick?
It's just one of them things. It comes and goes. It hasn't. I'm still able to walk around and stuff, and it's not.
Well,
You know, I would have done. I was at the hospital today, not for this, just for routine thing. And I said to Lane, if it gets worse, then I'll let Frank know. But it didn't
yeah,
get. It's just
it's
you know.
just irritating. Yeah, isn't it? I mean, because you've heard me just going, it's so
Yeah,
irritating.
yeah. You just gotta keep a lid on it. Pop the paracetamols and whatever else that you tell us to do it. You know, and
And Bella says, it's it Italy? Because he said, have a guess where I am. And I think Bella's saying, is it Italy? You're in Italy. You're kidding me. He's in Bombay,
Wow.
spending the winter here and going, no, I'm going to Moscow in the summer. Apologies, I had you worried. It was travel? Oh,
Oh,
Johan, absolutely.
Johan, wherever you go, you've got us with you. But that's wonderful.
Bombay?
Oh,
Or do you mean Mumbai? I think it's fantastic. Fantastic. And when I gave out Johan about a friend of mine, a female, and her husband, and he went, oh, years ago, but he'd heard so much about India. So he went so poverty, these little begging. And she goes over every year, her and her husband, to help the poor.
Annie.
Yeah, Annie Mac. And it's just wonderful to think, Anthony, that he's there. Mumbai, because it's not called Bombay anymore. That's old English colonialism now. And it's called Mumbai now.
Okay.
India.
Well, we know you're safe, Johan.
God blimey. And he's going to Moscow. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He'd be well safe over there. And he's going to Moscow in the summer. I'd love
Brilliant.
to do that. Love to go to Moscow. Fantastic city. Lucky man. And you know what? With me saying that and Johan, they'll be saying, oh, again, it's propaganda. It's what people would just say, oh, you're a puppet for Putin. No. Pathetic. I made up that our Johan's safe and sound and not ill like us. And as
And
Bella says, wow, Johan,
yeah,
Toscana. Johan, wow. And
yeah,
Christopher, have a great time, Johan. Isn't that lovely?
that's
That
fantastic.
acknowledging.
Yeah,
And Bella says, yes, have a wonderful time, Johan. Toscana. Johan, good for you. What a privilege it is to travel, learn, and enjoy.
yeah,
Not lovely
yeah,
to our little friend. Go on.
yeah. Beautiful. As long as all our group are all okay. All
Yeah,
those that we haven't seen for a while, hope you're well wherever you are. If you're tuning in, just give us a thumbs up to say you're okay.
I tell you what. I tell you. Remember, and we haven't heard from him, and he was bad.
Scottish Bear,
The bear, yeah, the Scottish bear.
always in my head and heart when we open up, Frank. Yeah, yeah. And George, Seth, and you know everyone. You know,
Judge that. And Johan says the internet is horrible where I'm staying. Apologies if I miss anyone. And look at
no,
them. Thank you, everyone. Such a gentle creature, isn't he?
Brilliant. Mr. Kindness. Yeah.
As he say, I always say, we're international now. I look at him and he said, we're truly international now. Asia under our belt. Yes,
You go. You
yes.
go. Fly the flag.
He's in one. Sorry, go on.
No, just fly the flag for the Frank Carlyle Federation.
Tell them to get me algorithm up there, Johan. Tell them to like and subscribe. I get millions. I get millions.
That'd be just wonderful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'll never be done. So how have you enjoyed it tonight?
I really have. I did a little bit of reading today on uh, Siegfried Sassoon, and I was surprised at the stuff I didn't know. But there's so many connections to his life and the likes of Thomas Hardy, who they were all friends, because obviously he grew up in a totally different circle than Wilfred Owen was fortunate enough to grow up to. And Wilfred Owen idolised Sassoon. And it's that connection. I like that all our characters, real life, are connected in some way. And reading that was good. And Robert Graves, the author, as well, who
Yeah,
served with Sassoon.
yeah. Robert Graves, unfortunately, he went a little bit loopy, did he? And did you know that, as I said, he was a Jew, Sassoon? And did
Yes,
you know he turned to Catholicism
yeah, I did.
in
So
later life?
his kind of family upbringing is a bit traumatic because his father
Mm,
came very, very. His father was Jewish. He came
yeah,
from a very wealthy um, family who
yeah.
immediately
Privilege.
cut him out when he married a a Catholic lady,
Yeah.
Sassoon's mum.
And she didn't persuade him, to become Catholic. She didn't say, listen, I want you to become a Catholic. Never said that.
No,
He just became a Catholic.
this is the power of observations, isn't it? We get in life on a small scale, but when you concentrate that existence in these poor young lads were dying, and girls were dying at 17, 18, and
Yeah,
we would say, no, that's no life. So you you get to know fairly quick what makes sense and what doesn't, you know. And Catholicism, obviously, to him, made sense. Even though he after the war, obviously, he got to live till he was 80. And
yeah, he just lived out. But he lived a recluse, didn't he, really?
yeah, yeah,
And he just done some like satirical poems.
yeah,
I was looking for a poem he did, and it was he really had a go at the music hall and the people who went to the music hall. He said, "You're all." I'm paraphrasing the poem. He said, "You are all sitting there happy as Larry, and you're getting the artists telling the jokes, and you're all laughing, you're rolling in the eyes, you're all singing the songs, while lads are being slaughtered on the fields." He really had a go at them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's Johan says, look at that. Be careful, they might accuse you of being a brick spy. Now, I'll tell you something now, Johan. I was going to mention that, you're in the BRICS country of India. Um, and you know what? I like Modi because he doesn't give it. I'm just talking to this wonderful man here. Modi, he just stands up to Trump. And he wouldn't go to a meeting, would he, with him? There was some meeting, and he said, I'm not going there. More or less calls him a divvy. Anyway, um, half of the people wouldn't know what BRICS is, unfortunately. No one. But I do, and you do. Oh. So have you enjoyed it tonight? It's been hard hitting, and
it has been hard hitting, and I think perfect timing. In between, yesterday, which was, of course, the anniversary of the death of Wilfred, and a week away from Armistice Day. I think it's perfectly timed, Frank. And it's forever going to be hard hitting, isn't it? Any warfare, any battle, and what we're talking from an English perspective here, but we're talking about any warfare is futile. The death of anyone in combat is sorrowful.
now there's a look at Kempachi there. And that's a cracking question. Is mythology like Greek, Norse, Hindu part of literature? Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is. It's like what Plato said, we mentioned Plato. We mentioned them all, Aristotle, everyone. And the Iliad, we've mentioned the Iliad as well, Homer's Iliad. And as Plato once said, if you know the truth, you're free.
Yeah.
That's a powerful little comment. Quote, if you know the truth, you're free. Because I base myself as being free. Because I do know the truth. I have, in my profession, do you think it's ex-profession now, Anthony, me? Because I've retired. Is it ex?
No, yeah, I don't think so at all, Frank. Because I don't think you can retire from that expertise and that knowledge. It's like the finest artist or the finest musician or any of that. You've amassed a learning which is phenomenal. So you can't put it down. It's not like, with all due respect, working in an office and saying, okay, it's my last day today. I won't work in the office anymore.
Yeah.
What you do is what you are. You cannot retire from yourself. And you shouldn't. We are beneficiaries of your knowledge. Grateful beneficiaries.
And as Johan says, you're a YouTuber now, Franco.
There you go. Yeah.
You see, I've always, throughout my life, and it's only through when I was at university, and as I keep referring back to my old professor, and he said, break down, you have to break down the barriers of propaganda. And that's what I've always tried to do.
Yeah.
I've always tried to do that.
Yeah.
And history is, was it Tolstoy or Dostoevsky? I'm not quite so sure now. He said, one of them said, I'm sure it was Leo Tolstoy. History would be a wonderful thing if it was true.
Yeah.
Think about that. History
Yeah.
would be a wonderful thing if it was true. Because
Yeah.
what he's saying is the propaganda that comes out isn't the truth.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of some of our wonderful chat. That would have confused me in the very beginning when I I got to spend time with you on the program. But um, over the 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 discussions and the time lapses and the present day to to William Shakespeare's day and far before, it starts to make perfect sense. Uh, and now it does make sense. Yeah.
But
But
what have you got it? I haven't a clue. Why they use propaganda? And it's for their own narrative, what
yes,
they want you to believe.
yeah,
You know, it's like everything. Propaganda is for the people.
yeah,
Who was it who said, who was it? The rich get richer because they have an abundance of poor. In other words, the poor work for them to make them richer. I
yeah,
forget who said it. I forget who
yeah,
said it, Anthony. And
yeah.
I just forget who said it.
I'll try and track it down till next time we meet. But you have to obviously what you're saying is amplified by the likes of Hollywood in
Yeah,
our lifetime, which became the mouthpiece of propaganda because we won this war, and that's in that film. We did that. They were the bad guys, and as you've said, in modern times, um, again in our lifetime, pretty much, um, if the powers that be, mainly America, but also Britain, want to make someone an enemy of the state, they put them in a movie and
yeah.
say bad guy's always a Russian, or he's always Chinese, or this or that, and we soak it up.
I've just thought who said the comfort of the rich depends upon the abundant supply of the poor.
Yeah.
And you know what? Voltaire.
Okay.
Voltaire.
Okay.
Because I just, every time, like, I've always, like, when we've been doing show streams, Anthony, I've always thought of it like a quote or a saying or something.
Yeah.
And I won't say it because I don't know who it is, but I had to say that about, what Voltaire said, because the rich can't do without the poor.
Yeah.
And abundance,
That's now,
that's
right?
now. But it's always been like that.
Yeah.
Voltaire, he goes back to the 18th century. You know what I mean? It's just incredible. And it's like Thomas Hobbes, another great philosopher, an English philosopher. And he said, man, man, man is nasty, brutish, and short. In other words, they've got a powerful brutality within them,
Yeah.
and they're nasty with it,
Yeah.
and they've got a short temper, meaning, they'll send you to war on a
Yeah.
whim, and that's what happens today.
Yeah. 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 And our mutual hero, Leonardo da Vinci, felt exactly the same. Exactly the same.
Yeah. And Johan says, I'll mail you a few images of brilliant Victorian architecture from Mumbai. Yes, to that said it was I didn't look at
Brilliant.
what he said. So Voltaire, I didn't see it. Thank you, Johan. Voltaire. See, he knew it.
Yeah.
Bella knew it. Not great.
Yeah.
And buonanotte Franco e Antonio and famiglia. E famiglia. What a wonderful night of poetry and learning. Thank you, Franco and Antonio, for your hard work. Not lovely?
And you, Bella, for yours. God bless.
Not lovely, that, And the comfort of the rich depends on the abundance of the poor.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. And thank you, Bella. Good night. Thank you for your kind words. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
And Bella, good night, Johan. Enjoy every moment of your life in India. May you have many beautiful experiences.
Yeah.
I wish someone would say that to me. Many experiences, beautiful experiences. Well, it's been an eventful evening. It's been hard hitting, but it had to be said,
Yeah.
didn't it?
It
It had to be said.
it did. It once again you just underlined the importance of truth. And we're not gonna get the truth from the no.
And I forget who says as well, and I wanted to say, and I suppose Joanne will tell us, or Belen, or anyone. If you're the smartest in the room, you're in the wrong room. I think that's exactly. If you're the smartest in the room, you're in the wrong room. See, I love quotes. And it was only to Capaci there. Kempachi. He said,
Yeah.
we do every aspect of literature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially this fella who's behind me.
Yeah. Mine always returns to Oscar Wilde when he says, "We are all in the gutter, but some of us
Looking up at the stars. But his greatest, in my opinion, his greatest of all quotes is, and it just exudes greed.
Yeah.
And it could be in any sort of, like, any sort of, it's hard to put it, like a profession or a country or whatever. and it's pure unadulterated greed. I can resist anything except temptation because we're all tempted.
Yeah.
The temptation is always there, and it goes back to biblical times with the
Yeah.
apple.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I just love his humor, which is very, very John Lennon like.
Oh,
I think the other quote is, I love to talk about nothing because it's the one subject I know something about. Nothing.
but that's sad, don't you think, as well?
I think it's just him having a pop
Oh,
out
yeah,
of,
no, it's having a pop, but it's sad because people do know nothing,
yes,
if you know
it
what I mean.
yeah.
Uh,
It,
I look at, Anthony, I look at the Trump administration, and someone says that in that ear, and he regurgitates it as though he knows. Then
is it
someone goes in this ear, and he says it again. I could say something to him and just say like, if I were you, I'd go and bomb New Zealand, and he'd come out the next day and say, I'm thinking of bombing New Zealand. Then you could whisper in his ear and say, no, it's not New Zealand you want to bomb, it's Australia. And he'll go, no, it's not New Zealand, it's Australia I want to bomb. That's what Trump, I know it sounds stupid, but it's true.
that's
This
what's
is
going
what he's like.
yeah, and it goes straight back to 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 William Shakespeare and that quote that you've done a few times. What an era we live.
Oh, what an era we live in as idiots govern the blind.
It's that, isn't it?
What a
It's that.
terrible era that we live in. Yes. And the lovely Bella. Franco and Anthony, you both already have beautiful experiences of knowing each other as friends. Ah, isn't that lovely?
We do over 20 years, Bella, but it feels like lifetime.
He's going to say 100 years. A
Oh,
100 years of harassment.
yeah. Well, we've got another 100 or so to go. Yeah. So
And our lovely Toscana says, Grazie and buonanotte, Franco, Anthony, and chatters. Take care, everyone, and safe travels to our Manchester United friends.
oh, wonderful. There we go. Yeah.
Aaron Johan says, will rewind because I missed the majority of the show. My namesake, except with the Z and an extra R, is NYC. Oh, go away.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Mandy, oh,
No,
Mandy.
yeah.
Made up, we got in.
And Johan telling us that we've missed you
We
more than
certainly
the
have.
beginning of the show, yeah.
And the fella who's just got in is Mayor. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And he beat Andrew Cuomo. And
That's
all the neocons didn't want him in because before he was elected in, he said, if Netanyahu comes to New York, he said, we should arrest him. So they all voted him in.
brilliant.
I'll have a go at that.
Yeah.
What
Well,
a
we
wonderful.
should look eagerly to see what the next few months bring and all support to him.
Yeah. I think his name's Zoran Mam Mamdani.
Yeah.
Mamdani, his name is.
Yeah.
Zoran Mamdani. beautiful. But I made up for you, Johan. I made up for our little chatters tonight. We've only had a small group tonight, by the way. But that group is so much with us,
Yeah,
always.
a beautiful family.
Yeah. And I'm going to have the bloody football show tomorrow. I've got to have it simply because I've got Friday coming up, then the weekend.
Yeah,
So I've got Friday, which is the hard hitting one. Like tonight, it was hard hitting, to be honest.
yeah,
But at least we've had a little respite with the likes of Johan coming on because we were worried about him and we mentioned him, didn't we?
yes, yeah,
We
absolutely.
mentioned
Yeah,
during the show, where is he? You know, I said to you, didn't I? We were we missing? And you said right away, Johan.
yeah,
At least he's with us and he's safe. And he's in wonderful India,
yeah. That's fantastic.
Mumbai.
Yeah,
See the way he said Bombay, and we know it's Mumbai. I love that. I love that. So, Anthony, it's been fabulous, honestly. The chat has been great. All the Italian girl, all the girls, ambidextrous, everybody has been
absolutely.
wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And the lads as
yeah.
well,
Christopher.
who contributed.
Yeah,
We just have to. We just have to do something on Monday, and I think we'll have to bring in again some literature besides the history. Do you know who wants to talk about? I want to talk about some great writers of Liverpool and artists.
brilliant. We do it. You know, we got the Cloughs. Um, we've got obviously the Mr. Roscoe, who we love and adore, and he brought it all together, put it in a place where us normal people could enjoy it. I'm talking about the art and the art galleries
Yeah,
and the
of course. And what about Anthony? Artists.
artists
And
who
what
got
about great people? You mentioned there Roscoe and his wonderful botanical gardens,
yeah,
and a fellow by the name of Atkins who decided to put in a zoological gardens. Talk about him. We'll
yeah,
talk about an abundance of people,
yeah, yeah,
an abundance,
yeah,
and the likes of Sir Douglas Fox.
yes, yeah.
Talk
Do you know
about him.
the going back to tonight's wonderful subject, and while we're still on the remembrance, um, there have been some incredible artists, Liverpool-born war artists, who sadly all their work and all of their documents and all this stuff is not held in Liverpool. It's held in Manchester. But I will track down some images, and if I may, I'll bounce them to Jason over the next couple of days, and you and I will talk privately before we go on Monday.
Yes. Johan, don't worry about me, please, you legends. Just an impromptu trip because life was getting tough back there. Music special soon. I'll tell you something, Johan. I don't think you know this. And I was given a talk down at the arena. It's is it the MS Arena today? Because it used to be the Echo Arena, didn't it? and I was giving a talk down there. So anyway, I'm outside the arena, and I comes out for a bit of fresh air, and I'm standing there, and I'm giving a talk to this massive audience of people from all over the country. I forget what the I forget what the it was the history of Liverpool, basically, because they came all around. They were here for I don't forget what they were here for anyway, but it was a massive audience. So I'm standing outside, and I'm looking in, just looking through through the glass doors, and I'm going, I've got to go in here now. And the next, I goes in, and there was this gentleman, and he was coming down the corridor, because the corridor in the arena is rounded. So I looks at him, and he's very smart, suit and a tie, and I went, oh. I said he must be coming for me, because as I was walking up, he was walking towards me, and then he just turned around and started. I said, "Oh, he must be leading me into the arena," because I said, "No, what? There was loads of doors, lots of doors, on my left." So anyway, I was following him, and he opened this door, and he walked in. I said, "Oh, must be in here." So before it shut, because it's on one of those, things that just shut it instead of you shutting it. So I just grabbed hold of it and walked in. The door shut behind me. I walked into an Indian wedding. And they were all looking at me. And the Indian wedding was going on, and I'm standing there. Hello. I was in the hotel, and I was an Indian guest, you know what I mean? An Indian guest. Oh, blimey. I think that's one of the most funniest experiences I've ever had. And it always gave me a good laugh. Just like when, my friends, and we were going to I was going to the 21st birthday. And they were shouting up, "Come on, we're ready. We're going down the pub." And I said, "I'm going to see Macbeth." And they go, "Well, bring him along then. He'll be all right." And they asked where he was when I went back to the house after seeing Macbeth at the Empire. It's that fella you're talking about, that Mac fella. And I never said, honestly, I just said that he couldn't come along. I wasn't going to explain.
That's the most beautiful humour, is the natural humour of life.
Yes, it is. It's just like that Indian wedding that Johan's laughing his head off at. And that was it, just in the middle of an Indian wedding. Hello. That's great. Anthony, it's been brilliant, mate. If I've got to do this thing on Friday. I really have.
Yeah.
I just want you to get better, mate.
I will. I'll get better. It's just a couple of days in, and then hopefully just go. I'm not feeling the way Jason described. I'm just feeling at the moment it's all in the head.
Yes, cool.
Which is my problem with everything.
You haven't got paint on, have you, under that thing?
No.
You have.
No paint today. I put Wilford up in honour of today. No, I haven't done any painting today. I haven't touched it.
The great man.
Here we go.
That's some portrait, though. Absolutely brilliant. Look at that. A gentleman. A gentle man. And I just want to thank these wonderful people for sponsoring the Frank Carlyle podcasts.
Yeah.
please don't struggle. Please, please, please don't struggle. Get these in. If you're an elderly couple, just get them in. Special discount. If you're an NHS worker, please get them in. Even if you're a cleaner for the NHS, get them in. You get a special discount. And obviously, if you're not in those categories, just bring them in for a price without any obligation. You'll be surprised. And I've just got to say, thank you, Gap, for sponsoring the podcasts.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Anthony, for tonight.
Thanks.
It's been wonderful.
It has been powerful and it has been wonderful. And thank you for allowing me along.
But yeah, don't ever say that. Don't say that. Allowing, you're part of it. Big part. And as Johan says, your voice does sound a bit coarse tonight. I'll pray for your speedy recovery, Mr. Brown. And the speedy recovery is 3 scotches.
That would undoubtedly speed it up. Yeah.
You can't get any better than that, can you?
I won't do any singing tonight, but me and Frank will be singing on Monday.
I'll pray for a speedy recovery. And with that, it gives you 3 scotches. Beautiful. Wonderful. And we just
Thank
got
you.
to thank Jason, haven't we, for setting up for tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Jason is always the backbeat of whatever we do.
Everything. Everything, can't we? Because I can't bloody set it up. You can't set it up.
Yeah.
So we have to depend on Jason.
Yeah.
But most importantly, I want you to say who are the most important people and why.
Well, our most important people, Frank, are our beautiful chat family. And we are a family. And without their comments and direction and input, then there wouldn't be a show. There wouldn't be a show.
No, they wouldn't. There wouldn't be a show. And on that wonderful, go on.
Just you and me shouting at the pigeons. And that would be it.
Or in your garden in a supper or on a nice spring day, shouting at the squirrels.
Yeah. Throwing nuts.
Throwing nuts. Throw each other because we're a pair of nuts. But anyway, on that wonderful note that Johan says, and everybody else, thank you so much, people. We love you. We really do, because we do talk about you.
Yeah.
And on that wonderful thing, I'll say good night. Buonanotte in Italian. God knows what it is in Indian. But if there's a German listening, it's Gute Nacht. If there's a French person looking in, it's Bonsoir. And it's a couple of Scousers looking in, and non-Scousers. It's see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Yeah.
Good night. Ciao.